Canto 31. Summary. The poet opens this canto by painting a rich picture of the celestial rose in heaven, in which all of the redeemed who have died until this moment are seated in glory. All the souls sitting throughout the many tiers are imaged as the petals within the rose which wrap all the way around the pilgrim who stands in the middle looking up at all of them. The angels are pictured as bees who dive down into the petals and back up to the triune light, who reigns over all from above. Looking all around him, he turns around to ask Beatrice the questions that fill his mind. But instead of seeing his lady, he finds that an old man has taken her place. As he discovers later, this is Bernard of Clairvaux, the 12th century Cistercian abbot and mystic. Upon seeing him, the pilgrim sputters out the question, "Where is she?" referring to Beatrice. Bernard, the pilgrim's third and final guide, directs his eyes up to the third tier from the top, where she sits next to Rachel. Dante gazes into her face one more time and prays that she would help keep him steadfast in this final stage of the journey. She smiles on him and turns her own gaze in one final act of instruction meant for Dante to imitate upon the triune majesty. Bernard invites the pilgrim to gaze around the whole rose, by which he will increase his capacity to behold the glory of God. He then encourages him to look all the way to the top of the rose, at the seat in the center where Mary sits as bright as a sunrise cresting the horizon. It should be remembered that she alone, in the poet's conception here, is in her final resurrected body. Therefore she shines with the fullness of a glory the other souls do not yet enjoy. Around her fly thousands of angels, sporting and singing, at which Mary is pleased. The canto closes with the pilgrim and Bernard gazing at her delight and beauty. Canto 31. Empyrean. In the form, then, of a flawless white rose, that sanctified host which Christ by his blood made his bride, was showing itself to me. But the others who, flying round, see and sing the glory of him who fills them with love, and the goodness which made them as they are, like a swarm of bees that at one moment enflower themselves, and the next return there where their labor turns into sweetness, were descending into that great flower adorned with such petals, and rising up once again where their love always abides. Their faces were wholly of living flame, their wings of gold, and the rest was so white that snow has never attained that brightness. As they descended into the flower from tier to tier, they imparted the peace and love they receive from beating their wings. So great a myriad flying back and forth between the rose and the height could impede neither the sight nor aught of the splendor. For divine light penetrates the cosmos in measure with each one's capacity, such that nothing can ever obstruct it. This secure and joyful realm, abounding in people ancient and new, was fixing both their gaze and their love all on one mark. O triune light, that in one star alone, sparkling in their eyes, satisfies them so. Turn your eyes here below upon our storm. If barbarians coming from that place which every day is covered by Hellas, wheeling with her son whom she greatly loves, were stupefied beholding the city of Rome with her magnificent structures, when Lateran surpassed all mortal things, I, who from the human to the divine, from time into eternity have come, from Florence to a people just and sound, with what stupor ought I to have been filled? Certainly, between this and the delight it pleased me to hear not and stay silent. And as a pilgrim, refreshing himself in the temple of his vow, gazing round, already hopes to recount how it was, passing upward along the living light, I was casting my eyes upon the tiers, now up, now down, now turning round once more. I was seeing faces persuaded by love, wreathed in another's light, and their own smiles, with bearings graced with every decorum. By now my gaze had wholly encompassed the general form of all paradise, and yet in no one part intently fixed. And I was turning round with rekindled desire to ask my lady about things with which my mind was being kept in suspense. One was expected, another answered. Thinking to see Beatrice, I beheld an old man, dressed like the glorious host. A gentle gladness poured forth through his eyes and through his cheeks, pious in attitude as was fitting in the tender father. In an instant I said, "Where is she?" Wherefore he said, "To bring your desire home, Beatrice stirred me from my place above. And if you gaze upward to the third wheel from the top tier, you will see her once more in the throne assigned her by her merits." Without answering, I lifted my eyes, and I saw a crown forming around her as she reflected the eternal rays. From the loftiest regions that thunder, a mortal eye is not as far away, however deep it plunges in the sea, as Beatrice, on high, was from my eyes. But that mattered little, for her image did not reach me mixed through a medium. "O Lady, in whom my hope is active, who for the sake of my welfare endured leaving a vestige of yourself in hell, of the many things that I have beheld by means of your power and your goodness, I now recognize the grace and virtue. You have drawn me away from slavery and into freedom by these ways and means, all of which you have the power to use. Safeguard your magnificence within me, such that my soul, which you have made healthy, may still please you when loosed from my body." In this way I prayed, and she, as distant as she appeared, smiled and looked down at me. Then she turned round to the eternal fount. "That you may perfectly complete your course," the holy elder said, "for which reason both prayer and holy love have brought me here, fly with your eyes through all of this garden, for seeing it will better equip your eyes for mounting further up the divine ray. And the Queen of Heaven, for whom I burn wholly with love, will grant us every grace, for I am her ever faithful Bernard." As he is who perhaps from Croatia travels to look on our Veronica, and whose ancient hunger is not sated, but says in thought, as long as it is shown, "My Lord Jesus Christ, true God of true God, now was your appearance fashioned just so?" So too was I, observing the living charity of the man who in this world tasted of that peace through contemplation. "Son of grace, this radiant existence," he began, "will not become known to you if you keep your eyes fixed here on the floor. Gaze on these rings up to the highest one until you perceive the Queen sitting down, to whom this realm is subject and steadfast." I lifted my eyes, and as at morning the eastern region of the horizon surpasses that one where the sun goes down, so too, as if going up a mountain with my eyes, from the valley floor I saw part of the ridge surpass the rest in light. As in that place where we await the pole that Phaethon ill led, the sky burns more, while on this side and that the light is less, so too was that Pacific oriflamme, more alive in the middle, tempering the flame on each side by equal measure. And at that center point, with wings spread wide, I saw thousands of jubilant angels, each distinct in ministry and splendor. I saw smiling down upon their singing and their sport a beauty whose contentment was in the eyes of all the other saints. And though I had as much wealth in speaking as in imagining, I would not dare attempt the smallest part of her delight. Bernard, when he saw my eyes attentive and fixed upon the warmth of his own care, turned his to her with so much affection, he made mine more ardent to gaze again.